Have you wondered why we have summer and winter? Why summer is hot and winter is cold? To understand why, first you need to look at the Earth and its orbit around the Sun. Here's a picture of Earth following its path around the Sun, the red arrowed circle. It takes 365 days for it to get all the way around, 1 year. All during that time, the Earth is spinning around this purple line, called its axis, and that goes through the North and South poles. Every time the Earth spins around its axis, 1 day happens. So the Earth spins around its axis 365 times as it makes its way around the Sun. 365 days in 1 year. But look at this. Notice that the purple axis, the line from the North Pole to the South Pole, is not straight up and down. It's tilted, and it stays tilted at the same angle all the way around the red circle. This tilt is why we have summer and winter. Can you see over here in June, in summer, where the purple line is coming out of the North Pole is facing towards the Sun? This part of the year, from spring to autumn, where the northern hemisphere gets the most sun. See how the sun doesn't shine on the South Pole at all? And over here in winter, the North Pole is pointed away from the sun, and the South Pole is pointed towards the sun. This means the northern hemisphere gets less sun in December, which is winter for the north. And while it's winter for us in the northern hemisphere, look down here. In the southern hemisphere, they're getting more summer, and it's summer for them. Just like over here, where it's summer for us, it's winter for the southern hemisphere because the southern hemisphere is leaning away from the sun. Here's a more detailed way to look at it. See the Earth over here? This represents how the sun hits it in June. Look at the red line on the Earth. This is the equator that divides the northern and southern hemispheres. You can see clearly that in June, the northern hemisphere above the equator gets most of the sun. There's also another interesting line here. This purple line called the Tropic of Cancer. This line is where the sun shines directly on the Earth when the northern hemisphere is getting the most sunlight in June. This is the day of the year with the most daylight in the north. Also look at this blue line, the Arctic Circle. Do you see that when the sun is shining directly on the Tropic of Cancer, that everything north of this blue line has sunlight all the time? That's right. When it's June, the land north of the blue line always has daylight, 24 hours a day. And look down here at this other blue line, the Antarctic Circle. You can see that in June, everything below this circle gets no sunlight. That part of the Earth has nighttime all the time in June. So let's go over here in December. The sun now shines on a different purple line. This one below the equator called the Tropic of Capricorn. And you can see the reverse of June, where the northern hemisphere gets less sun. And the land of north of the Arctic Circle is nighttime all the time. And down south has summertime. And the land beneath the Antarctic Circle has daylight all the time. So that's why we have summer and winter, because of the tilt of the axis of the Earth. So you might have heard the terms summer solstice and winter solstice before. What are they? The summer solstice is the time of year when the sun shines directly on the northernmost point on the Tropic of Cancer It can go from the equator all the way up to here from spring to summer. Here's the funny thing though, because the summer for people in the northern hemisphere is winter for people in the southern hemisphere. So it's more accurately described as the June solstice for everybody, or the summer solstice for the northern hemisphere and the winter solstice for the southern hemisphere. And over here in December, during the December solstice, the sun shines as far south as it can go on the Tropic of Capricorn. This is called the winter solstice for the people in the northern hemisphere, and the summer solstice for people in the southern hemisphere, or the December solstice for everybody. Here's an idea of how far from the equator the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn are. You can see that we here in the United States are still above the Tropic of Cancer, so the sun never shines directly down on us. The furthest north it gets is halfway up Mexico and over Cuba. Florida and Texas do get pretty close though. Look down here at Australia. The Tropic of Capricorn goes straight through it. That means when it's winter for us, around December 21st, Australia has the sun directly overhead. And here's even a monument in Australia marking along the path of the Tropic of Capricorn. You can see the wide band on the sphere that indicates the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, so now you know why we have summer and winter. It's because the sun shines more directly on the north in June and on the south in December. Pretty neat science, huh? And you know that the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere is when the sun shines as far north as it will go and gives the most daylight in a day. But you know what else? Thousands of years ago, we don't know exactly who or why they built it, but there's an ancient ring of standing stones called Stonehenge in a part of what is now England. The people who built it must have also noticed the sun reached its highest point in the sky in June. Why do we think this? Because there are special views through Stonehenge that show the sun setting in the summer solstice and rising in the winter solstice. Every year, even now, people gather at Stonehenge during the summer solstice to watch the sun set through the stones at Stonehenge, indicating the longest day of the year. They also watch the sunrise the next morning. Similarly, in winter, they can watch the sunrise through the stones. Now, why are we talking about all this today? Today is June 20th, 2020. Today at 4:43 p.m. United States Central Time, the sun shines on the Earth's northernmost point on the Tropic of Cancer. Today is the day with the most daylight of the year, the summer solstice. So why did we talk about Stonehenge? Well, this year there will be no one gathering there to watch the sunset and sunrise because of COVID-19. But we have the opportunity to watch both of them online later today. If you get your parents to go to Facebook and search for 2020 Summer Solstice, you should be able to find the live stream of both sunset and sunrise over Stonehenge. Fortunately, since Houston is 6 hours behind England, we can watch both of them today. Sunset at Stonehenge will be about 3:26 p.m. Houston time, and sunrise is 10:52 p.m. if you are allowed to stay up that late. Be on before then, because the prettiest parts of a sunset are before the sun is actually down. That's all, and have fun observing the sun while it travels over the Tropic of Cancer.